Natalie from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for November 2024. So on November 19th, we have a major energy shift taking place. We have Pluto, the great transformer himself, finally leaving this Capricorn energy that we've been sitting in since 2008. Pluto will be moving into Aquarius energy, kicking off what will be a 20-year chapter for us, taking us all the way in to 2044. So, of course, I am going to recommend, if you haven't downloaded your November energy guide specifically tailored for your zodiac sign, I'm going to recommend you do that. We're going to want to capture some of the changes in our mind space, in our thoughts, in our ideas, in our mood, in our attitude, in our external realm, in our environment, in our circumstances. We're going to want to capture all of that very, very detailed because this particular energy shift is something that we're going to have to come back and reference a multitude of times from now until 2044, a huge chunk of time. So let's do a little bit of a review, shall we? Okay. Pluto, although is the great transformer, he does so through the death and destruction process. You have to provide an ending and a closure, a death essentially to the old before you can start building something new. That's where the rebirth, the resurrection, the renewal energy comes from. So Pluto is about power and control, specifically over our psyche, because again, this is the egoic programming, the societal conditioning that many of us were born into, that we're having to unlearn at this particular juncture in order to flip the script and actually retrain and relearn some of the concepts that, again, we were very much tainted under. We also have to understand that it's a majority over the power and control of the societal structures. So when we talk about the structures of society, we talk about government. We talk about, politics. We talk about the banking system, the healthcare system. And specifically, with this Capricorn energy that we're closing the chapter upon, capitalism. We have the opportunity to make some major changes to society, to the collective, to humanity. Yes, we're going to see these particular topics and themes emerge in our day-to-day lives, in our own individual lives, but for the most part, this is going to be a 20-year chapter that has a huge impact, first and foremost, on the collective, and then secondary to that, on our own individual lives. And we've been watching Mr. Pluto just absolutely destroy, deconstruct, destroy, demolish, not only the US of A, because again, the states just had their Pluto return 248 years it takes for Pluto to go through all of the signs and return back at the point in which it was when the United States of America was actually created. That Pluto return, we can all see it very clearly. The US of A has had major changes over the last 20 years. And because of the reverberatory ripple effect that, happens when you take a certain place, person, country out of power, demote them in order for other people, places, and things to rise up, you best believe that that has a ripple effect on the collective worldwide humanity. Now, side note to this, I do have a whole astro class for this particular shift over on my Patreon. If you're a Patreon member, you can access it that way. If you just want to purchase it per view, you can do that as well. We dive into your own individual chart. We definitely do a deep dive, a recap, a review on what Pluto in Capricorn was all about. We're going to go through some of the hot topics and themes that, of course, helped totally demolish and destroy the governing systems that, again, are going through a major reform under this Aquarius energy. And of course, we're going to tie it all into some of the world events that we can expect to see over the next 20 years. That was just my side note. Now, let me just say this. We have been watching celebrities fall. We have been watching government fall, politics fall, corruption be exposed. All of these things are very Plutonian. Why? Pluto is the furthest planet away, and I still call it a planet, and you should too, okay? It has a major effect on us, but it's so far away from the sun that it sits in the darkness, therefore rules over our unconscious selves, rules over our psyche, rules over everything hidden, everything dark. Okay. And in mythology, we know Pluto as Hades, the god of the underworld. And so we have to understand that the last 20 years that we've been going through technically was the beginning of the end of the old world, of the old structure, of the old power structure that again needs to fall, crash, totally be destroyed in order for us to do something about it. The Aquarius energy is giving the power back to the people, but it's going to be a bumpy ride, a bumpy road. And we are slowly but surely going to see the option and the opportunity for humanity to gain a whole bunch of wisdom, a whole bunch of knowledge, a whole bunch of power, and see what they're going to do with it. Now, again, reminder, this is not the first time that we've been in certain situations given power and technology that we chose to use against our own damn selves. And therefore, you can look at the biblical situations where the earth plane was kind of cleansed. You could look at the quote unquote mythology where Atlantis and Lemuria were concerned. Again, typically speaking, you give humans power and technology to save the world, chances are they are going to corrupt it. They're going to use it for evil. We are going to see over the next 20 years what we choose to do with the restructuring, the rebuilding of society from this particular collapse. So I'm going to kind of rattle off a couple of dates for you. And I just want you to kind of think back to those particular times. And of course, if you've been with me for any amount of time and you still have your energy guides, your moon guides available to you, it would be super interesting to go back to these particular time frames, check and see what was going on for you, because these are going to be topics and themes that you're going to be experiencing over the course of Pluto's time through the Aquarius energy. So we're just going to talk about the specifics with the Aquarius energy. We know that we entered into that Capricorn energy back in 2008. And for the last technically 2 years, we've been doing a cha-cha-cha dance between the Capricorn energy and the Aquarius energy. So we first entered into the Aquarius energy March 23rd of 2023. And of course, that gave us all kinds of things to explore, especially where AI is concerned, where innovation is concerned, where exposing corruption is concerned, exposing the government was concerned. Again, giving a new level of awareness and consciousness, because again, Aquarius energy ruled over traditionally by Saturn. So this is where the structure and the responsibility and the accountability of returning the power back to the people are concerned. And then modern day Uranus, the great awakener, rebellion, revolution, consciousness, awareness, innovation, progress, technology is concerned. They're both ruling over this Aquarius energy. So we had a little bit of a glimpse of some innovation, of some freedom, of some topics and themes that require freedom and a flipping of the switch, so to speak, where justice needs to be served. We've been watching this corruption, this darkness rise to the surface of humanity's awareness in order to do something about it. We're still very much in that particular chapter and theme. But then we had in June in 2023, Pluto go retrograde and creep back into the Capricorn energy. So it was almost like we seen the light at the end of the tunnel. We seen different options and opportunities to do something, to do better, to be better. And then we moved back into the Capricorn energy where it was like, oh, okay, well, we need to go back with the wrecking ball and we need to remove that particular part of the structure so that we can build on that particular part of that foundation. We sat in that Capricorn energy. Pluto went direct in it. We crept through the final degrees of that Capricorn energy and we re-entered into the Aquarius energy January 20th of 2024. So the beginning of this year. We were, getting a glimpse of what we need to fight back towards, what we need to rebel against, where it is that we need to come up with inventions and innovations in order for us to progress, especially through the awareness of the consciousness of the collective. This is aligning with all of the waves of awakening that we've experienced over the last couple of years as well. But what did we do? We went retrograde. And what did we do September 1st? We retrograded back into the Capricorn energy again. We got to get the wrecking ball out. We tried to make some progress. We tried to build something new. We seen the light at the end of the tunnel. We seen where we needed to reform and restructure some of those particular governing systems. And what happened? We had to go back and continue to destroy the structures that were blocking us from building on this brand new foundation. So we brought the wrecking ball out again. What happened? We had Pluto go direct at 29 degrees. That's the critical, crisis, karmic degree. It's a mastery degree. It's a death degree. It is the most important degree of any sign that any planet could be in. And so again, we had this situation early fall where we were very focused on the last standing structures. And that's why, not that I want to talk about, world events here, but you're watching the Diddy thing fall out, okay? Diddy is not the first dark, corrupted person to take power and control and use it in the wrong way. And he will not be the last. And he's actually not even at the top of the pyramid. He is just a puppet. So we are going to continue to see all of these things unfold. We had Pluto sit there. We had Pluto sit there, aspect all the other different planets in order for change, for transformation and take over. We also had Pluto sit there reminding us of where we had limits and restrictions and hesitations, and where it is that we were falling victim to the negative ass narrative in our head, where it is that again we were being corrupted by societal narratives, where it is that again we needed to boss up, do better, be better, and override this freaking system. So here, November 19th, we are moving into this Aquarius energy, and we will be sitting in it technically until March 8th of 2043, because Pluto at that time enters into Pisces. But he's going to go retrograde in that Pisces energy, and he's going to re-enter the Aquarius energy August 31st of 2043. And then he's going to go direct. And then on January 19th of 2044, we enter into Pisces energy permanently. So definitely a long haul here going on. Now, anytime that we have a heavy hitting major planet like this make such a transition, I want you to imagine a bridge, okay? We are essentially at the highest peak of the bridge, the middle point of the bridge. Behind us is the Capricorn energy. We're taking a good look back at that bridge before we burn it down. And we're taking a good look at the damage and destruction that we absolutely witnessed. We are watching the old world fall, and with it, the old version of self, but it's still on fire, okay? There's still some smoke there. There's still some fire. There's still some debris. There's still some remnants. We haven't brought in the cleanup crew totally yet. We haven't cleared the space. We haven't fully put it behind us. But when we pivot and we look at the part of the bridge that we haven't experienced or explored yet, and we look off into the horizon, everything looks very light, looks very futuristic, looks very hopeful, very wishful. It looks very good, especially compared to the absolute disaster that we're leaving behind. It looks like the place that we want to be. But we have to understand, we don't know what is awaiting us. And power and control in the wrong hands of the wrong people mean that we are going to repeat humanity's history once again, and we are going to cause more problems than we are going to fix. Now, that is a real timeline that I hope we do not end up on, but there is a positive. We could essentially grow up. We could do better, we could be better, we could reform, we could restructure society in the way that it should have been by returning the power back to the people. So let's talk about it for just a second. First of all, this is going to be about our own individuality. How can we be individuals bringing forth our talents, our skills, our gifts in order to help the greater, grander whole? We know, due to the shadow work that we've been doing, due to the boot camp that we've been in, that when we help ourselves, we can help other people. When we vibrate at a high frequency, it's contagious. We can affect the people, the world around us. So this is going to be the relationship dynamics, the power and control that we have over our damn selves. Again, we've been in training for this. We've been in the year of 8. This is time to walk the walk, talk the talk. This is time to, again, activate our creator abilities. This is time to take our power, our control, our sovereignty back. Now, what are we going to do with that? Well, hopefully, we're going to build something beautiful. We're going to build something new and shiny and innovative and progressive. Hopefully, all of those things. But we also have to understand that, the Aquarius energy is focused on the greater, grander collective. What we can do as individuals in order to help the greater, grander whole. A lot of this, and again, we're on this very interesting teeter-totter right now, a lot of this is going to be splitting off in like-minded groups. And when we talk on the greater, grander scale of things, we're talking about nationalism. Now, nationalism in the right kinds of ways, in the right kinds of hands of the right kinds of people, should I say, could be a good thing for us to make this transitional period. However, in the wrong hands of the wrong people, this could be an absolute shit show. Again, we have to see where the collective is vibrating, where the power of attention, of the energy, of the focus needs to be. And again, we're going to have a very interesting chapter to see what we do with this power, with this control, with this innovation. So, we're going to see AI. We're going to see scientific, especially the medical side of science here. We're going to see a lot of inventions, a lot of innovations, a lot of progress. We are also going to see new ideas for how, society works, how it should work, how we're interacting with the people, with the world around us, what needs to change, what we could do better, considering the fact that the Aquarius energy pushes all of us into a new level of awareness, a new level of consciousness. There is going to be a new level of awakening. And with that, when we're all kind of, operating a higher vibration, a higher frequency, and we still choose to ruin the world, we still choose to hurt each other, we still choose to harm each other, that is going to be a significant choice point on the timeline in which we 100% have available to us to take that power, to use it against ourselves, and totally destroy what could have been a good thing. This is time for us to overhaul society. This is time for us to do better, to be better. This is time to use those sciences, that technology for good instead of evil. It is time to expand our minds. It is time to collaborate on a new level in order to restore the power back to the, I'm going to say the collective, but realistically, it comes down to the sovereignty over oneself. If you can have power and control over yourself, and we all do that, and we're all like-minded, and we all want the same cause, think of how powerful that would actually be. So it's going to be a very interesting dynamic, specifically for the first, I'm going to say 5 years of this particular transit, mostly because, again, it's probably going to take us that long to get off the damn bridge. Basically, we're in the middle of the bridge. We have a little bit of a journey to get off of this bridge before we set it on fire so that we can collapse it and really kind of never look back and never repeat the same mistakes, the same patterns, the same history over again. It's going to take that 5-year chunk. And of course, once we get that 5 years, we're going to have a fork, a choice point, if you will, a crossroads point that will take us into the next 5 years. And I feel like if we are to be able to break this up into 5-year increments, it's going to be a lot easier for us to kind of make those decisions on where it is that we fall off the path, where it is that we need to get back on, where it is that we need to align with our communities, with our groups, with our collective, with our countries, whatever the case may be. And it just feels like we're going to have to break this bigger, greater, grander plan up, this chapter up into smaller chapters so that we don't get too far off path, we don't get too ahead of ourselves, and we don't have the ability to ruin a good thing. So in our own individual lives, it's going to kind of follow suit. But at the same time, may I also remind you, we only have a couple of quote unquote weeks left here in 2024. 2025 is a major year. Okay. If you think 2024 was a shit show, you haven't seen anything yet, not fear mongering in the slightest. But I have to remind you, and I do have a 2025 year ahead overview coming out. I have to remind you that Pluto moves into Aquarius here this year in anticipation for and preparation for Saturn moving into Aries energy, fresh, clean start, brand new chapter. Neptune moving into Aries energy, fresh, clean space, brand new start, brand new chapter. Jupiter moving into Cancer energy, Uranus moving into Gemini energy, the nodes of the moon moving into Pisces and Virgo axis. It is going to be a banger of a year. And so again, if we can just take this in tiny little chunks, we have a better option and opportunity to not mess it up. We don't want to get overwhelmed. We don't want to project ourselves so far into the future on where it is that we want to be in 20 years that we miss the smaller achievements needed in order to actually align us with that plan, goal, and vision. So yeah, that's just a brief summary. Of course, when we have all of these energy shifts taking place, it is going to fine tune the energy that Pluto in Aquarius actually gives us. But for this particular chapter, for this particular point in the calendar, this is the major shift of the year, the major shift of the month, the major shift of essentially our lifetimes, because we are getting closer and closer to being fully immersed in the age of Aquarius. And Pluto dipping the toe in the Aquarius energy is definitely kicking off that whole vibe, kicking off this whole chapter in the most powerful, most transformative type of way.